Well, hey there, and welcome to this edition of BEP Talks, where wonderful guests join us to share their beliefs, their experiences, and their passions, all to inspire, to motivate, educate you, what have you, and to take center stage so they can help change lives. Today, certainly no exception. My guest here right now, Susanne Blohm. Susanne, please join me on the BEP Talks stage. There
Hey,
you
Beth.
are. How are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
I am great, greater now that I get to meet you. You have a big topic and it can go in many different directions. So I'm just going to get right out there and ask you. First of all, you are a manifestation coach or a guide.
Yes.
First of all, define for our viewers and listeners, from your perspective, what does manifestation mean?
Manifestation is that realization of a dream or goal. Sadly, manifestation is always happening because our energy is letting the world know what it is that we would like. We are projecting our dreams and goals by who we are being now. And so we are manifesting all the time. And that is something that people, when they meet me, they're like, wait, what? I thought I was only manifesting when I set this big goal and I made it happen. No, you've manifested everything from your car loan to the breakdown to the breakup to the health, the no health, and that is where I come in to help
No, it
people
doesn't have to be
clarify.
something that you're actively doing, like concentrating on, wishing, asking, praying, whatever it is. It's just your unconscious thoughts and your behaviors that it's happening whether you realize it or not. So I guess we all take a look around and say, look what I have manifested, for
Absolutely.
better or
Yes.
for worse. Gotcha. Thank you. That's why I wanted to clarify that because it has a little bit of a, with all respect, like for some people, like a woo woo feeling about, oh, I have to go and manifest. You're doing it whether you realize it or not. Thank you for that wonderful creating that clarity. So, you have a program or course called You Are Wealthy Now.
Yes.
Define wealth for me.
Wealth is a richness in whatever it is your heart desires, whatever that is, health, money, time, relationships, you name it, that is yours to discover. And for some people, they don't know what they want. They don't know they think that what they have is really what's destined for them. But what's destined for us is when we close our eyes and our heart is light and we do that bit of daydreaming, oh, and everything's all worked out. That is our wealth. That is what is meant for us. And we are wealthy right now. Yes.
Now, I guess we have a, what shall I say, too much of a focus on the bank account or the car we drive or the size of the home in which we live, and that we're thinking of wealth from a very materialistic perspective. How wonderful to say that there is so much more than that. How do we combine then whatever it is that that one is trying to create their wealth in, a relationship, a business, something? Is it always tangible? Is it a tangible thing?
Doesn't need to be tangible at all.
Okay,
No.
okay. How do you combine the two, manifesting
Combining,
and the creation of wealth?
absolutely. So, what we first have to do is just have a really clear idea of what we would want. What would I love in my life? And it's generally great if we can have emotion with an image, but it doesn't have to be too specific. So if I'm here and I would like a partner who's a woman or a man, I'm going to envision whatever it is I'm liking, that type of feeling that I have with them, the type of qualities they may have. What I don't want to do is say, I would love a loving relationship with Keith Urban, for instance.
Oh,
Well,
wow, wow.
at the moment he's not taken, but maybe he would be. And when we're specific, we're limiting how the results can be brought to us. So we want to have details, we want to have thoughts, but we don't want to be too specific. So if I have a dream home, and I think that that dream home is 555 Barclay Road in whatever city, the universe might go, well, I'd love to give that to you, but the couple that just moved in there, well, they're young and they're dreaming of having their grandkids in the backyard. So you're going to have to wait, girl. So we are going to be, you know what? I'd love a home like that with three
Mm.
bedrooms and an ensuite in every bedroom. You name your dream. Whatever that is, that's the first thing is to have that. laid out. And then to upshift is our second step, because
Mm,
what I have currently as a result in my life is based on what I believe, based on my experiences, and it's based on the results that really have shown to now in my life. I've allowed myself to believe that that is what's capable for me. So I now need to up my self concept to be the one of the person in that vision. That woman for whom it's all worked out, how
mm,
does she feel? What does she believe? What are her passions? When she pays her bills, looks for homes online, when she goes shopping, what is her attitude? What is her gratitude? What is
mm.
you need to make that upshift, and then be aware. Be aware when we are not coming from that level, from that being, because it happens so often that, maybe you'll get a bill and it's tax season in every country right now. Maybe we're getting a tax bill and we feel a certain kind of way. We need to remind ourselves, is this how I would act about this tax bill coming from my vision? Because in all honesty, if I've got a bill for $300,000 to pay in taxes, that means I made a heck of a lot more money. How am I going to feel?
Yes.
And that's the emotion that we want to bring, because then we're going to attract more like that to be happy for, to be grateful for, and it will just keep growing from there.
Right. That's so interesting that you said that about the tax bill. I remember years ago someone saying, "Oh my gosh, do you know what my weekly payroll is?" Because of, and I said, "Congratulations. A big
Yeah.
payroll is a good sign. Congratulations." And they kind
Yeah.
of looked at me and was like, "Oh, yeah," because it was relative to, the revenue. So good thing.
Mm.
So be careful what you wish for. I'm feeling. Um, Dream and vision vividly, like with
Yeah.
great detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember, and it might still very well be the popularity of vision boards years ago.
Hmm.
Was that
Hmm.
something that helped people manifest the beautiful homes that they put up, the gardens, the cars, whatever it was?
I love that question. The answer to that question is, how do you feel when you look at your vision board? If when you look at your vision board, you're excited at the possibilities, you can't wait for that to happen, you know it's around the corner. If that's how you feel, your vision board is going to work for you. If
Oh,
you look at your vision board and you're like, oh, I still don't have that house yet, haven't met that person yet, oh, it never turns out for me. It won't. So that's that awareness, that third piece that we need to look at is, we may have this vision, we may have this vision board, and please make one. If it makes you feel light and expectant and hopeful, that's perfect. If it makes you feel anything negative, that's not for you. We have some work to do first.
so Suzanne, what is it that two people, they could seem to be so similar in many ways, members of the same family, perhaps, and brought up with the same values, with the same circumstances. Why does it seem, and I say seem because reality and what seems to be real may be two very different things. Why does it appear, at least to one of them, that what did he or she do to get what he or she has that I didn't do? Why wasn't I deserving? What's what creates that difference?
That very thought, why wasn't I
Oh,
deserving? That is the very root of it. And you've just described myself and my brother.
oh,
Raised by the same people, raised with the same values, raised in the same home, completely different lives. And it's that one believes in possibility, one believes in what they see coming forward, and he would say that that is me. And he didn't believe those things were possible. He saw the I don't want to use the word victim, because we're not manifesting what we would love does not mean that we see ourselves as victims. But
right.
what we do see is that maybe things don't work out for us, that people always blame us, that no one at work likes me,
Oh,
that and we can hear these tiny little things, and it could just be in one area of life. I can't seem to meet anyone I love, and my sister's found an amazing husband. Anything like that, those are those beliefs that we need to be aware of, because that is actually What we believe sets our expectations, and our expectation is our identity. Our identity is what we manifest from. I'll say that
Very,
again.
makes a lot of sense. It makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. So perception becomes reality because someone could have a lot more materialistically speaking, and yet be a very unhappy person, whereas someone could have the reverse. And let me say this for you, my hope for you and your brother, that you both consider yourselves very, very wealthy, that you both have arrived where you envisioned yourself, and that you both have great happiness in your lives.
Thank
I
you.
want to put that energy out there. How do you work with people so that they can make what I have to believe are unconscious, subconscious thoughts, to become aware of it and to change it and to manifest that which they really want? How do you
Yeah.
work with people?
Honestly, it depends on where they're at. And it is all about meeting people where they're at. Do they
Mm,
even know what they would love? Sometimes we don't
mm,
have a clear idea.
true.
Discovering that idea, discovering our values, our passion, our purpose, that can be a number one thing. If people already have that, fantastic. But if not, that's where I start. The second one is honestly the self concept, like I was saying before. But that self concept is our beliefs, it's everything society has told us, it's everything our parents, our teachers that we have chosen to internalize. Because,
Mm,
as a kid, I was told I was shy by one person and I was told that I talked too much by another. Which one did I internalize? Right? My
yes,
grade nine
yes.
socials teacher thought I talked too much. My dad thought I was shy. Um, so it is that self-concept is that set of beliefs and that
Mm.
that we have decided to internalize. And those we discover, we lean in. And how do we know when to lean in? It's when we feel off. So if I'm thinking of my vision or my next step to take or that next job that I'd like to apply for, and there's that negative feeling inside, we lean in and go, well, where's that coming from? What is the belief that you have there? When was the first time you felt this way? We try to take that back and discover what that belief was,
Mm,
and then ask ourselves, does that belief serve you? You know,
mm.
when I was two, I asked my dad if I could help paint a wall, and I remember this, and he cannot believe I remember it. I was two. I asked if I could help, and he said, "You're too little." And of course, I'm too little. He's building a brand new home. I can't even lift the brush. Like, I get it. But in my mind, since that moment, I have had to prove myself in everything. And that meant I didn't believe I was worthy now, that I wasn't deserving now of whatever it was. And so I had to go back and ask myself, does that belief serve me? No, it doesn't. What would I love to believe? I would love to believe that what I'd like to do or have or is for me.
Do you still
Absolutely,
have
it's for
that
me.
belief?
I feel it rear its ugly head in the weirdest situations, and yet at other times I'm blissfully free of it. So
Yeah.
that's where that awareness comes in is having
Mm.
people notice that emotion again. Does that come? Oh, there comes that emotion again. Oh, that's that. I decided I don't believe that anymore. This is what I believe instead. And that's the work that I do in order to correct. Because what is a belief? A
That
belief
was my
is
point. Yeah.
it's an idea we've repeated in our mind enough and decided to give value to. I've decided I can change a belief in an instant because that serves me.
Because you
You know,
can.
you
You
can.
mentioned having a memory at the age of 2, which is extraordinary. Um, I recently spoke with someone, I'm trying to remember specifically, but the point was that by the age of 7, which we somehow kind of declare the age of reason, by the time you're 7, you can discern between right and wrong, good and bad, up and down, that so many of your life's beliefs are embedded in you that you don't even know. As you said, what a parent says, what a grandparent says, what a
Mhm.
sibling does, or how people react to you. You're shy, you talk too much. Well, which one is it? Those tender years of 1 to 7, where you're not even aware of these things, you can't even measure what they could lead to. Is it ever too late to be able to go back, whether you can identify the where or the when. Like, not everybody at 2 remembers wanting to paint a wall, but can you go back? How do you go back and say, ah, that was when it happened, and now I'm going to change course?
It's never too late,
Good.
ever. Beliefs are truly just ideas that we can change. For me, I invite people to follow the path of the emotion. And you're right. Sometimes we don't know where that came from. Maybe that memory isn't conscious anymore. That is a possibility. At that point, I invite people to truly rewrite their story or their belief at any rate. So if when I this isn't me, but perhaps, if when I pay a bill, I'm always worried that I'm not going to be able to pay the next one, and it makes me feel tense. Ask yourself, well, does that belief serve you? And if you don't know where it came from, that's okay. What would you love to believe instead is still the next step. And then reinforcing that. So every time that emotion comes up. Now, I mean, my favorite thing is to ask people, how do you feel when you log into your bank account? Very often we have a sinking feeling. We don't feel there's enough money. We're nervous, you name it. Well, then don't log in.
Mm,
Stop it. How would you love to feel? I would love to appreciate the money that I have, the flow that I see coming. I could look back at how many times I've been paid in my past and total it up and know my true worth in money has come through. Take a few moments to do those things and then log in. That's you doing the work,
mm,
right? And if you can't shift it, log in tomorrow, because paying that bill a day late with a different emotion is worth more than the late fee, because it will
mm.
bring you more into your life because you are attracting from who you are being at that moment.
It sounds so simple. And you know what? It makes a lot of sense. So you can see yourself as a victim, or you can see yourself as a victor, depending on how you decide to see yourself.
Yes.
I had a client years ago, and God forgive me, she was not a physically attractive person by typical standards of beauty. Um, she wasn't, but she believed truly, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that she was gorgeous.
Yes.
She kept herself very well. She wore beautiful clothing. She had a very statuesque appearance. She walked in and she didn't command attention, she demanded it. Difference. But she believed that she was the most beautiful person in the world. And
Yes.
after a while,
You see
physical
her
appearance,
beauty.
you can. You can,
Yes.
and the vice versa. You can look at someone and say, "Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful person. Look at that handsome man." And then you start to get to know a little bit, and that wanes. That becomes not
Yes.
so great anymore. So
Yes.
perceptions, realities. So why do we struggle with this so? If there are solutions, you have to identify the problem. And you have to have the desire to change it, correct?
Absolutely.
So once you have the desire, you can change it. Never too late. You told us that.
Yeah.
Great news. Can people work with you? How do you make yourself available to take people through that beautiful empowering process?
Absolutely. SuzanneBlohm.com, my website. There's ways to join my workshops. There's ways to join my events. I have a 3-day event called Aligned and Amplified that I do several times a year that really helps people discover what they're looking for in their life, who they are to be in order to align with that, and how to remain aware enough to see that come to fruition for them instead of what they usually see. So yeah, SuzanneBlohm.com is the easiest way. And we
Oh,
get so discouraged.
Blohm, Blohm,
Yes,
Suzanne Blohm.
HM.
It just came into my mind when we hear these stories of people who dream of winning a lottery, and many have, and their lives have been absolutely ruined.
Yes.
You're manifesting it. Are you is that you manifested it, but you've defined wealth the wrong way. You've defined wealth only in the material, and you lose your friends, you break relationships.
Yeah.
You have to almost hide. People's lives have been ruined.
Because you
Um,
may have seen yourself as a lottery winner, but you didn't see yourself as a calm, cool, collected, wealthy person who knows how to conduct themselves in relationships. And, when someone asks you for money, how do you deal with that? They haven't done any of the work.
right,
They are
right.
still themselves at that low, I wouldn't say lower level, like it's no higher or lower, but who they were before the money without knowing how to change and be the person who is wealthy now. They don't have that.
Always, in all
Always.
ways.
Always.
Who, like when you look at someone, the last thing you see is the materialistic.
Hmm. Hmm.
Everything
Yeah,
else shines through.
absolutely.
So if you want to learn how to be a really good lottery winner and how to put that kind of manifestation into work for yourself and others in the most positive way, you've got to work with Susanne. It's Susanne, Suzanne, Blohm, BLOHM.com. Can I just tell you, you have the most calming demeanor, just the calm in your voice. Um, is very cathartic, very therapeutic for me, and I thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Beth.
Well,
That's
I
wonderful.
appreciate you, and I've loved having you here as this episode's guest on BEP Talks, and I urge people who have heard this message, and you have to hear it, and you will find yourself in this message if you are willing to look deep enough. You will find yourself in what Susanne has shared with us today. So I thank you once again for joining me. And I say to all of our listeners, you have a story too that's worth sharing. And we'd love to put you here on stage at BEP Talk so you can share your beliefs, experiences, and passions. It can change the world. And if you change one person, you have done your job. You have
Yes.
changed the world. So, as I always say, may the best always be yet to come. And until we talk again, bye for now.